Hey, this is Seth with In Demand Career. I show people how to get jobs in digital marketing with no previous experience or education. And that includes my very special guest today, Aditya, who was majoring in information systems and wasn't really interested in that, found my course and got his first entry-level remote SEO position, making about $46,000 a year. So I'm very excited to share his story with you. Thank you for being here, Aditya.
Yeah, thanks, Seth.
Cool. Why don't you tell people a little bit about your current job?
Yeah, so right now I work as an SEO specialist in a digital marketing firm in Ohio. The firm's name is Outerbox. So my job is totally remote. I'm in Texas. The digital marketing firm is in Ohio. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
That's great. And about like well also like what's it like working remotely? Like do you work at home? Do you work at a coffee shop?
Yeah, I mean, some days I'm at home. The other days, I actually go to my college campus, which is literally like 5 miles away from my house because I have some friends who are there. So I just take my hotspot, and then I'm working, and then whenever I take a break, I just chill with my friends. Just talk to them, hang out with them. And there's a ping pong table. We just mess around, we play. It's great. It's like I'm going to college without paying for it or getting in debt. So it's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, you're actually getting paid to do the work that you're doing. Um,
exactly.
and what I was curious because you told me you're making about 42K and then with bonuses about 46. So what do you mean bonuses? Is that just cash bonuses or performance or how does that
Yeah,
work?
it's like benefits, like with all the benefits and stuff, like the healthcare and um like insurance stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, man, to get full benefits on an entry level job with no previous experience. So so let's we'll talk more about the job in a minute, but of course people always want to know like how you got here and what you're doing before. So why don't you tell people a little about what you're doing when you found the course and what like what you're majoring in and things like that.
For the course, I was going to college, and around my sophomore year of college, basically found some of your videos on YouTube, and I thought what you were talking about, digital marketing, was interesting. I came across some of the interviews that you did with some of your students who had gotten jobs, so I was just like kind of binge watching a lot of different interviews from all of your students, and I thought, oh, this is kind of interesting. This is cool, but I was still, kind of in the whole mindset like, oh, I need the college degree or whatever. And since I was already there, I was like, yeah, and I was still semi-interested in my degree and learning programming and all that. So I was like, oh, I'll continue with college. So I was doing that. I was doing my college, and then kind of like towards the last year of my well, senior year of college, I kind of got to see like, okay, like these are the different areas I could go to as far as my degree in information systems. Like I could go into databases, or I could do, computer networks, maybe become a programmer. And I didn't really think these things were that interesting to me. And even like I was just coming to grips with like the whole, kind of the culture, like in high school, when you're going to high school, everyone's just kind of like pushing you to go to college, and like it's like, oh, you need to go to college and stuff like that. And then I came to realize, look, I spent like 4 years or so, right, learning like accounting, economics. I don't even need any of this stuff. I'm like, towards the last year, I was like, okay, this is finally what my degree is about. And it's just like one class on like cybersecurity. And it's like the professor's like, oh, do these assignments, but then get the certification out after. I'm like, well, if I'd known that in the beginning, wouldn't it just be more logical to just like skip the whole thing and then just actually do the certification online? You didn't have to get the degree. And so I was just coming to terms with all that, and I just sort of realized you don't really need a degree. So then I came across your videos on YouTube again, and I was like, oh, well, it makes sense because a lot of your students and alumni who studied the course and got jobs, they did basically that. They learned digital marketing, and then they were able to get a job based on their skills, which is what I was coming to grips with in my last year of college. So, and I was thinking, well, what else can I do? What the stuff that you were talking about, and the way your students were talking about the course, it sounded really interesting to me. So I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. So I worked part time and saved up some money, and then I bought your course. and then I just started learning from there. It was in last year in August. That's when I bought the course and started learning. It took me a while to get through it because I was my last year of college and my last semester, so kind of the classes were ramping up. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You said a lot of really good things in there for people watching, and whether you are in college, you've graduated, or you're skipping and you decided not to go, it's really good info, a good insight, because you will run into that, guys, where it's kind of like coming out of the matrix for a lot of people. You've been brainwashed. I was the same way. People don't even believe this, but when I was in college, I was gung-ho. A buddy of mine dropped out, and I like freaked out and tried to like talk. I remember I was like, "You're throwing your life away." This was like in the late 90s. I was like moved. I was like emotional. I was like, "You can't leave college. You're going to end up on the street," and it was like being in a cult. But the more you're into it, it's like it's crazy. Like you're in this, I'm sure, relatively expensive program wherever you went, and they're like, you're learning all this irrelevant stuff like accounting, economics, has nothing to do with information systems, and then the professor is basically like, oh, go do this other thing. So it's like that in marketing degrees too. It's even worse because you're learning about billboards and TV and macroeconomics, and then there's nothing practical. And then for a lot of other students, it's like it's also distracting you. That's the real thing. It's taking your money, but it's also taking your time. So you're spending 3 to 4 years. You can have some fun, you can make some friends, but like, do you need to pay money for that? Like, I've always thought it's weird that we train our young people to believe that you need to go into debt to make friends and have a social life. Like, you can do that without college. So anyway, it's fine. So you got to that point where it was your final year, you're in the course, and why don't you tell people, how did you go from being in the course to getting, your first job?
Yeah, so I think I graduated college around December of 2020, so last year. And after my college basically finished, I could dedicate more time to the course, but I wasn't like, it still took me a while. I was kind of slow about it. I was pretty chill about it. I was hanging out with some of my friends here. I was working part-time, so I was taking things pretty slow. So I was just going through the course, like you said. I went through it once. I took notes in the beginning, but then I just started watching the videos, and then I re-watched them again, took notes and everything. And then I just remember all the advice that previous students had said, and that what you kept saying is like, watch it, right? Take notes on it, and then start doing the assignments. So I started doing the assignments that you told us. So so like stuff like building a website and stuff like that, running a actual Google Ads campaign, and slowly like that I built up the experience. I remember I just bumped into a friend in my street actually who needed a website, and I was just talking about. He just asked me, "Hey, what are you doing? Like you graduated college and stuff." I was like, "Yeah, I'm doing this course," or I just told him I'm kind of working on a certification. That kind of like it's a very easy answer to give. And oh, I'm learning how to build a website right now. So, and he's like, "Oh, cool. My dad, he has a construction company and he's looking to make a website." I'm like, "Oh, cool. Maybe I could do it." I was going to do it for free. And he said, "No, like, we could pay you." So I was like, "Oh, sick." So yeah, I got paid to learn how to build a website. And then,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, guys, it's funny you say that, because I mean, what I tell people in the course, like I said, it's so in demand, all these skill sets, whether it's building a site or running a campaign or doing SEO. I mean, it's very different to find clients with this skill set than if you're like a personal trainer or something. It's easier, and there's more people that need it than you think. So fast forward a little bit. So why don't you tell people, so once you actually did everything, how was it like when believe you got an internship of some kind?
yeah. So after I did a lot of the assignments that you're talking about, like building a website and running PPC ads, I started applying to jobs, and while I was doing that, I was also applying to internships because my mindset was like, like if I, if even if I get the internship, it's fine, or I could build up my experience, right? While I'm waiting to get a paying job or the actual, position. So I ended up getting this internship with this technical writing company, and it was like a remote job. So I was so it was like it was for SEO. So that's kind of where I got my SEO experience. Yeah.
Did you decide that you liked SEO more than PPC, or did you kind of like both?
I like both. I like both PPC and SEO. I think I had more experience in PPC because I ran like two campaigns, one for like a local client in my city, and another one I just ran for my own website that I built. So I guess I was more sure about doing PPC. I was a little bit unsure about SEO. But then when I started doing the work for this technical writing company, I already knew what to do because your course had already shown like, oh, hey, this is how you tackle an SEO project. And, Andrea had a lot of tips and tricks as far as using SEMrush and all the tools that we needed to do a good job on SEO. So I was, comfortable doing it, doing the work for them. And I basically got that internship around late July, early August. So I was there for like, like a little more than a month. So all of August, I was like just working at this internship, and then I was during that whole time I was still applying to jobs, right? And I got this interview with OtterBox, which is where I'm now, and by September 10th, they sent me an offer to, hey, we would like to hire you. I'm like, oh wow. So yeah, that's how it happened.
That's fantastic, man. And remember, and something else, people, we actually included in the course now some mock interviews, and Aditya was actually one of the students we worked with. I worked with him. Angel, one of my SEO alumni, worked with him, and also Matt Kerr, who's one of my PPC alumni. And yeah, you were already getting interviews and getting interest before you came in, but I know. Did you find that the mock interview helped you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I remember I had maybe like one or two interviews before the mock interview, and I realized there were some questions maybe that I wasn't prepared for. So going through that mock interview really helped me, and I could tell like when I was in the interview for the job that I got, I was like super prepared. I was like, yeah, I know what to say. Boom, here we go. So yeah, definitely
Yeah,
it helped a
and
lot.
I was really happy to help you with that. And we include now that video is included in the course, and it should be helpful for anyone watching. And it actually inspired me. I just actually am about to publish a new interview video that's really in depth and addresses a lot of the things we talked about. You really learned how to get succinct and confident in your answers, which is really the main issue for anybody in any job interview. I can give you, I mean, one of the biggest takeaways from the new video is like, it's like if you say something confidently, it's better than saying if you're saying something that's like not perfect but confidently, it's better than saying the perfect thing but without confidence, or without, if you're not, a lot of the communication that happens in these interviews is nonverbal. It's just human connections. But doing the preparation, doing the work that we did, I knew that was going to make a difference. And so I was really excited when you messaged me and told me you got the job. I knew it was going to be only a matter of time. You had the building blocks, you had the enthusiasm, can tell when I'm talking with somebody. Like you were geeking out about this keyword. I still remember Aditya was talking about how he like found these long tail keywords for his clients, and how he was looking, explaining to them which keywords were profitable and which keywords were not profitable based on search intent. And there was this moment where you just started geeking out. It was like you're in the zone. You were just like off in nerdland talking about. I was like, dude, yeah, you just have to learn how to harness that power, and that's how you get that. That's how I got the job. That's how Nick. Remember Nick Battle talking about his first job, where he just kind of, again, it was based on the course. He had gotten so into this, and he's like, just rambling, but you're not rambling. You're talking nerd speak to other digital marketers. So that's awesome, man. I love it because, again, it's not like you learned tricks or tips or anything. You really built a solid foundation. You got some real experience. You even generated some like leads or revenue. I remember for your PPC client, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was able. I ran some PPC ads for my for a local dance studio, and I was able to find her local clients. Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, and again, you could get a PPC job just as easily. It's just such an amazing thing about digital marketing that still is awesome. Is that like a local dance studio, you can just put together a campaign and now they have more customers. That was impossible 20 years ago. You know, you'd be on the yellow pages or handing out flyers on the corner, which is what they're, by the way, I have a lot of the marketing majors. I remember interviewing a marketing major who was saying like literally like his job after graduating was handing out flyers. And I literally just had somebody email me last week talking about how they were talking like that was in their program. Like people were learning about flyers. I was like, dude, is it 1985? Like what is going on? So you're sorry, you guys know I get triggered and I get into the college thing a lot. So, but I'm very happy for you and it's amazing. So what was it like? So you get the job, or first of all, what was it like in the interview? You felt more confident? Like, did they ask you about your previous experience?
Yeah, kind of. It was like a really simple question, like, tell me a little bit about yourself. What are
Which
the,
is what we asked you, right?
yeah, yeah, that was like one of the first things you, Matt, and Angel probably asked me. It's like, oh, tell me about it. I'm like, okay, yeah, stuff like that, and like, what are the tools you use? And there's a lot of tips that Matt and Angel gave as far as like answering, as far as like, oh, these are the tools that I use, SEMrush, Screaming Frog, and stuff like that. Uh, that really helped me, and I just because like I knew that these questions were coming, so I was like, okay, I have my answer. Boom, there you go. And even like maybe like during the interview, there was like a question that I didn't expect, like, oh, have you done goal conversion for Google Analytics? And I was like, oh, I haven't done that, but I'm actually looking into Google Tag Manager because I know it tracks. It can track like, oh, how many links, how many times this link has been pressed, how many times this button, the person actually downloaded this form and stuff like that. So that was, even though I didn't know all the answers to all the questions, but like for that one in particular, uh, everything else I was able to answer in like a confident way, and I actually knew what I was talking about. So my supervisor Adam, he was able to sense that, and that's why they hired me.
That's awesome, man. And so once you got hired, what's it been? You've been there for about a month. What's it like working remotely? Like, were you able to do the job based on what you'd already had experience, or have they been training you? What's your workday like? Tell us more about it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like as far as like what the course has taught, I'm using a lot of the knowledge that I gained from the course in my actual job. Like, yeah, I'm changing the title tags, the meta descriptions, all of that stuff, doing keyword research, uh, for this firm who actually has clients that want to rank, on page one. And they have some training too. They have their own kind of system or method of how to write the title or meta description, or how to do keyword research, that kind of stuff. So I'm continually learning a lot from them as well. Yeah.
That's awesome. And how many clients do you have right now? Are you working on?
Uh, right now, they're starting me off really slow because it takes a while to get adjusted. So I think right now I probably have anywhere from like 7 to 10. In like a week, there's like maybe 7 or 10 different clients, uh, like projects that I'll be working on, uh,
What
optimizing
kind of
different
clients? Like what,
sites.
just general industries? Like what kind of industries are you?
So like the firm that I joined, the marketing firm I joined specifically caters to e-commerce. And actually, they're the number one e-commerce digital marketing firm in the U.S. So like, I remember I was this one client called Dynamic Appearance, and like they basically sell like headlights, or at least that's the part I was working on, for like specific cars, like the Dodge Challenger, stuff like that. So I would try to find the best keywords for those items and then optimize their website. And there's other e-commerce clients, like stuff like I don't really know, like for like boats and stuff, there's like engines for it and different valves. So these are like physical items. So I don't really know a lot about it when I first as far as these items. So then when I researched the what the client is doing and what this product is, I learn a little bit more about, oh, okay, this is what they're selling and this is who their target audience or customer would be.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's one of the reasons why people wonder, like, why do people like these jobs in addition to actually liking the work and the keyword research, the problem solving. But it's very interesting when you have all these different industries and clients. You just like, it's fascinating. Like, I mean, boat parts, like I'm sure that's a huge industry, but nobody really thinks about that. And it keeps work very interesting, I think. That's one of the things I always liked about working in an agency. You never know what client you're going to get. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what client you're gonna get. That's my terrible Forrest Gump imitation.
Forrest Gump, yeah.
Yeah. So, what was I gonna say? There was one other point that you touched on. Oh yeah, that's again with the course. You guys have seen all these interviews, and it's like I said, like I teach people how to get the job because I'm gonna make you the best candidate. In other programs, even if there's a program that um uh like I said, I tell the Goldilocks amount of information, not too much, not too little. You need to know, you don't want to have like a 50-hour training on analytics or PPC or anything, because you're going to get too rigid in a certain approach. All these agencies are going to do like what Aditya is describing, which is like he has the base knowledge and then they have their system. They have their way of doing things. You've got to be malleable and open to their system. If you come in and they're like, this is our system, this is the way we do it, and then this happens sometimes. Someone says, well, I've been doing it this way, I was taught to do it this way. You're not a good candidate anymore. So your willingness to learn, your openness and your enthusiasm and your flexibility is a big asset. So that's great, man. I'm excited for you. I love that you can show up on your college campus and hang out with your friends, play ping pong, and get paid while you're working. It's like, that's really awesome. And you can work from home. And you just, you started out, and first of all, this is a very good salary, making about $46,000 a year for a recent college graduate. No matter what you guys see on Google, and I explain this in my book, like college graduates are not going to making that. They're not, unless they're majoring in engineering. They're struggling to find customer service and jobs and things like that. So you're already ahead of the game, and it's just your first job, so you're in a really, really good position. So we're gonna wrap it up in a minute, but is there anything else you want to say to me or anybody watching the interview?
Yeah, I think from my experience of taking Seth's course, I just found it super helpful, the forum and the Facebook group. I mean, I reached out to a lot of different people, different times, asking questions. It's really helpful to just have somebody else who's kind of already ahead. Whether it's like they have the job or they did this part of the course and they've already worked on the website or run their campaign. Because sometimes I mean, I was there. It's like, okay, I don't know how to do this thing, but I always knew I could reach out to somebody. And even like the calls that you have, like the weekly calls with, I think Xavier is the one who's doing SEO calls now, and Nicholas, right, for PPC. So just knowing that, hey, I could jump into one of these calls, these weekly calls, and ask a question or see what they're talking about and continue to learn more. I don't think there's any other program that's like that. So yeah, I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, we've added, yeah, there really isn't. I mean, and again, being the one thing I always wanted for this course is, I said, the information. I've been getting testimonials since 2016, but with the Facebook group and with the coaching calls, you're really getting like an interactive experience. So you don't have this isolated online feeling. You're part of a community, and it's really it's turned into something really special. So I'm happy, and it keeps getting results. So I'm very, very, very happy for you. Is there any last things you want to say to me before we go?
Thanks for making the course, man. Like it's so amazing that you can just you could just learn a skill and then you could get hired. I mean, it's like it's awesome. I mean, anyone if you know the skill, um people are looking for people who can do this kind of stuff, right? Because there's not many people know this. So like, learn it and then do it.
That's well said, man. Well said. I mean, the way you said it, I could get from what you just said is that we're brought up to believe it's so complicated, right? I realize that's it's a double punch. Like the first thing you realize is that everything you were taught about school was like, not everybody is as direct as I am about saying it's a waste of time, but you kind of get this sense. Most people have like, well, why did I spend 12 years on this and 4 more years learning this stuff? And then work is like very different. That's the first thing. And then you see how simple it is, or at least how direct it could be. And that's just like mind blowing for people. It's like, dude, just get the skills that employers need, whether it's digital marketing or coding or whatever. And what Aditya said is true. There are still more jobs now than ever before. I have never seen this many jobs on LinkedIn. I was over 100,000, usually even over 200,000 at a time. And the colleges are still teaching people about microeconomics and flyers. When you say that most people don't know, most people still do not know about this skill set. If you talk about SEO and PPC to the average person, they do not know what it is. And that's why I'm gonna make a video about this. And when people say, "Oh, is it saturated?" Like, no. if it were saturated, there wouldn't be 200,000 open jobs. They would all be filled. That's what saturated means. Like, there are some fields, like, that's why it's so important. Like, my dad went to law school in the 90s. Okay, there was this point in time where there weren't enough lawyers in America. I'm talking mostly about the US. So it was like in the 80s and 90s, like everyone started going to law school, and it was so easy to get a law job, a high paying. The movie The Firm came out with Tom Cruise. It was like a big trend of like lawyers, like that was the hot profession, and people were getting these great jobs with benefits, and it lasted for a period of time. It's not the same now. It's not the same. If you go to law school, you will, if you work hard, you probably get a good job, but lawyers even struggle, right? Because there's ebbs and flows to industries. This industry is still on the up, and it's been on the up for many years. And I have no idea when it's going to stop. Nothing. It's not like real estate or law where people are rushing in. Like Aditya said, the marketing programs don't even teach it, and people just aren't learning the skill set. So yeah, that's my end of the video, like inspirational rant about this, about why it's such a good time to get the skill set.
Seth, I did want to talk to maybe somebody who's looking up information systems on YouTube, because I remember I was not, I would look up stuff on YouTube, information systems, because I was thinking, oh, computers, interesting. So if you're, somebody who's looking into like, oh, I want to major in this, or I want to get into computers and stuff like that, because that's where it's big. The mindset I was thinking also is like, yeah, I need to go to college. But like I just said, I went to college, studied information systems, or, like, I took one class in programming, okay, very basic. The professor basically said, look, we're teaching you the basics. You just need to learn how to talk like be able to like verbalize the concepts in your interview, and then you should be able to get a job. I never actually went for a programming interview, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt, right? But like, why do I have to wait, like, till my last year of college to figure out like, hey, this is not something I want to do, or to like actually do it, right? Because we were just doing assignments in the in the class. We didn't actually like build anything. So if you're really interested in computers and programming or databases, just like go like get a course, right? Okay, you can get a course anywhere on databases or programming and learn it, see if you like it, and build something, okay, and like get a local client. And once people see that, hey, you've actually worked for somebody using your skills, they'll hire you. And that's how you figure out if you want to do it for the rest of your life, or if you can get a job with it. You don't have to, spend like 40K and get a degree, and only in the last year really get into the meat of what you're actually going to do for your life. Just go out there and and like learn something and then do it.
That's well said, man. I mean, maybe we'll do another video about that because you're talking about information systems, but it applies to most fields, what you're saying. And if I'm putting in the title in this video, I'm going to mention information systems, like from information systems to digital marketing. It's like, but this applies to almost every field in existence other than law or medicine. Like, if you're going to be a surgeon, you can't just like perform a surgery on your own, a freelance heart surgery, and then try to get a job. That's obviously a situation where you need a degree and training. But like every other field, and I'll talk about this if we do a separate video. Like I worked at Activision years ago as a temp. I was like doing data entry. And I remember I was doing data entry of resumes. And I remember looking at the resumes. This is before I understood that degrees are not relevant. And I remember saying like they were hiring programmers and coders, and I was like, well, what's the deal with, the degree was like just not even part of the conversation. It was all about their portfolios. And some of these guys were brilliant. And this is 20 years ago, but they were like these young guys who had done programs and created games on their own. And that was all they cared about when they were hiring at Activision. They really didn't care. And I remember scratching my head because I hadn't woken up yet. I was like, but some of these guys don't have college degrees. I remember I said that to someone at the company, and they were like, like they would just shrug. Like I was like I'm an idiot. Like what? Who cares? Like all that matters is can they do the programming job? We have a video game to go to market. So in almost any field, that's what you should be doing. So cool, man. I know we kind of at the end here we got into what could have been a whole other video. Maybe we'll do that. But it's been great chatting with you. I'm very happy for you, and let's stay in touch, and we'll do a follow-up. I'm sure you'll be moving ahead in your career very, very soon.
Oh yeah, for sure, Seth.